You've heard of a side hustle, right? But what happens when you take that idea and just push it to the absolute extreme? We're going to dive into a story that does exactly that. And believe me, it tells us a whole lot about work and maybe even ourselves in the world today.
75. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. It's a lot, and it's the number at the very heart of this entire story.
Yep, 75 different side jobs, not over a lifetime, but all juggled in a really intense, concentrated period of time. I mean, that's an incredible feat of just scheduling, let alone endurance. And that, of course, is the big question, isn't it? Why in the world would anyone put themselves through that? Answering that question is what turns this from just a crazy number into a really fascinating story about what it means to work today. So let's get into it. Let's really unpack that why. What could possibly motivate a person to take on a challenge this massive? Well, as you're about to see, the answer is way more complicated than you think. We can call this idea the infinite hustle. And the key part of this whole thing, the real kicker, is that last little phrase, driven by more than just money. Because look, if this were just about paying rent, the story would be over pretty quick. But it's not. When you actually break it down, it's so clear that it wasn't just one thing. Yeah, sure, financial need was in the mix, but it was equally fueled by this powerful creative curiosity, a real search for identity, and this deep, nagging desire for self-discovery. It was kind of the perfect storm of motivations, all hitting at once. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Every single job wasn't just a way to make a buck. It was like trying on a new costume, a new identity. It was an experiment, constantly asking, okay, who am I when I'm a shop girl? Who am I when I'm a dog walker? Are they different people? So if that's the why, the how is honestly just as mind-blowing. Let's switch gears and look at the actual logistics of trying to manage this. Well, this beautiful chaos. I mean, just look at the variety here. It is all over the map. You've got your classic retail gig like a thrift store clerk right next to something totally modern from the gig economy, like an online surveyor or a brand ambassador. It's like a snapshot of the entire part-time work landscape, all happening at the same time. And this is where it gets really wild. A single day could mean 4 different jobs, 4 different bosses, 4 different uniforms, 4 completely different mindsets. You start the day in silence, clicking away on a computer. Then you're on your feet dealing with customers. A few hours later, you're outside wrangling dogs, and you end the night in some loud, crowded event space. The constant switching of gears, it's just dizzying to even think about. So how on earth do you survive this without completely falling apart? Well, it all boiled down to these 4 rules. 1, your calendar is everything. It's your Bible. 2, you have to be able to pivot on a dime. 3, and this is so important, you have to know when you're about to hit a wall. And finally, number 4, you have to learn to love the chaos. You have to find the joy in all that variety. Okay, but let's be real for a second. A lifestyle this intense, it has to come at a cost, right? This wasn't all some grand, exciting adventure. There was a very, very real price to pay. Think of it like a balance sheet. On one side, the gains were huge, a real sense of empowerment, a collection of totally unique experiences, and a skill set that was just incredibly diverse. But the pains on the other side were just as real and just as powerful. We're talking serious burnout, basically giving up your social life, and a level of mental exhaustion that's hard to describe. This chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's simple math. Your day only has 24 hours. So when that work bar shoots way, way up, well, something's got to give. And that something is almost always sleep and any semblance of a social life. There's just no way around it. And this, right here, gets to the hidden cost. It wasn't just about the hours you were clocked in. It was the constant mental load of scheduling, of commuting, of planning your next move, of remembering what you were supposed to be doing at any given moment. Your brain literally never got a chance to just turn off. So after everything, after 75 jobs, after the burnout, the insane scheduling, what was the ultimate takeaway? What did all that grinding actually teach? Wow, I mean, that is such a profound insight. The real skill learned wasn't about logistics or time management. It was about empathy. It was about being able to see the same human hopes, the same fears, the same kindness in people, whether you were selling them an old t-shirt or checking their name off a list at a fancy party. And here's the other huge lesson, a big one about sustainability. You learn the hard way that your physical and mental energy has a limit. It's a finite resource. But that spark inside you, the drive to create, to experience new things, to learn, that can be an endless well. The whole trick is figuring out how to draw from that well without draining yourself completely dry.
This table just brings it all home so perfectly. You go into it thinking you're learning about time management, but what you're really learning is self-preservation. You think it's about earning money, but it's actually about finding value. And you think you're just juggling a bunch of tasks, but the real journey, the whole point, is about seeking connection with other people. And so that really leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to think about. Whether you have one job or five, every hustle, every single grind is teaching us something. The real challenge is just to pause for a minute and ask ourselves what that is. So, what is your work really teaching you?